Psalms 18. For the chief musician by David, the servant of Yahweh, who spoke to Yahweh the words of this song in the day that Yahweh delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. He said, then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the mountains quaked and were shaken. Because he was angry, smoke went out of his nostril, consuming fire came out of his mouth. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down. Thick darkness was under his feet. He rode on the cherub and flew. Yes, he soared on the wings of the wind. He made darkness his hiding place, his pavilion around him, darkness of waters, thick clouds of the skies. At the brightness before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Yahweh also thundered in the sky. The Most High uttered his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. He sent out his arrows and scattered them. He routed them with great lightning bolts. Then the channels of water appeared. The foundations of the world were laid bare. At your rebuke, Yahweh, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils. All right, we're jumping to Matthew 21. Verse 33, hear another parable. There was a man who was a master of a household who planted a vineyard, set a hedge about it, dug a wine press in it, built a tower, leased it out to farmers, and went into another country. When the season for fruit came near, he sent his servants to the farmers to receive his fruit. The farmers took his servants, beat one, killed another, and stoned another. Shoot. Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they treated them the same way. But afterward he sent them his son, saying, they will respect my son. But the farmers, when they saw the son, said among themselves, this is their heir. Come, let's kill him and seize his inheritance. So they took him and threw him out of the vineyard, and then killed him. Then therefore the Lord of the vineyard comes. What will he do to those farmers? They told him, he will miserably destroy those miserable men, and will lease out the vineyard to other farmers who will give him the fruit in its season. Jesus said to them, did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected was made the head of the corner? This was from the Lord. It is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore I tell you, God's kingdom will be taken away from you and will be given to a nation producing its fruit. He who falls on this stone will be broken to pieces, but on whomever it will fall, it will scatter him as dust. When the chief priests and the Pharisees heard his parables, they perceived that he spoke about them. When they sought to seize him, they feared the multitudes because they considered him to be a prophet. Matthew chapter 22. Jesus answered and spoke to them again in parables, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who made a wedding feast for his son, and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they would not come. Again he sent out other servants, saying, tell those who are invited, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my cattle and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the wedding feast. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his own farm, another to his merchandise, and the rest grabbed his servants, treated them shamefully, and killed them. When the king heard that, he was angry, and he sent his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. Then he said to his servants, the wedding is ready, but those who were invited weren't worthy. Go therefore to the intersections of the highways, and as many as you may find, invite to the wedding feast. Those servants went out into the highways and gathered together as many as they found, both bad and good. The wedding was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there was a man who didn't have on wedding clothes. And he said to him, friend, how did you come in here not wearing wedding clothes? He was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, bind him hand and foot, take him away, and throw him into the outer darkness. That is where the weeping and grinding of teeth will be, for many are called, but few are chosen. Shoot. This is crazy. Like, if you just read this and just look at what it's saying. Jesus is giving us parables about parables, of course, because they're like kingdom teachings right here. But it's just amazing that you just see like he's talking about the chosen people. Like y'all not paying attention to what I'm saying. And I think it's really important that we really hear and listen what God is saying and don't get stuck in tradition. Um Man, and that is just such a challenge because sometimes we get so comfortable, and sometimes we we get into a place where we're powerful and we don't want to just like start again. And sometimes God is like calling us to like scrap everything that we have done and just go back to the basics. And sometimes we're like, oh man, I was so comfortable in that position, so complacent. And he's like, nah, you need to get up. You need to scrap that and follow what I'm saying. So I'm always reminded, uh, just not to get too into my ways, because then I'm just getting in the way. All right, we're gonna jump to Job. And Job says to Bildad. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, dominion and fear are with him. He makes peace in high places. Can his armies be counted? On whom does his light not arise? How then can man be just with God? Or how can he who is born of woman be clean? Behold, even the moon has no brightness, and the stars are not pure in his sight. How much less man who is a worm, and the son of man who is a worm? Then Job answered, how have you helped him who is without power? How have you saved the arm that has no strength? How have you counseled him who has no wisdom, and plentiful declared sound knowledge? To whom have you uttered words? Whose spirit came out of you? The departed spirits tremble, those beneath the waters, and all that live in them. Sheol is naked before God, and Abaddon has no covering. He stretches out the north over empty space and hangs the earth on nothing. He binds up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not burst under them. He encloses the face of his throne and spreads his clouds on it. He has described a boundary on the surface of the waters, and to the confines of light and darkness. The pillars of heavens tremble and are astonished at his rebuke. He stirs up the sea with his power, and by his understanding he strikes through Rahab. By his spirit the heavens are garnished. His hand has pierced the swift serpent. Behold, these are but the outskirts of his ways. How small a whisper do we hear of him, but the thunder of his power who can understand? Job 27. Job again took up his parable. Job again took up his parable and said, as God lives, who has taken away my right, the Almighty who has made my soul bitter, for the length of my life is still in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. Surely my lips will not speak unrighteousness, neither will my tongue utter deceit. Far be it from me that I should justify you. Until I die, I will not put away my integrity from me. I hold fast to my righteousness and will not let it go. My heart will not reproach me so long as I live. Let my enemy be as the wicked. Let him who rises up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless when he is cut off, when God takes away his life? Will God hear his cry when trouble comes on him? Will he delight himself in the Almighty and call on God at all times? I will teach you about the hand of God. I will not conceal that which is with the Almighty. Behold, all of you have seen it yourselves. Why then have you become altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, the heritage of oppressors which they receive from the Almighty. If his children are multiplied, it is for sword. His offspring will not be satisfied with bread. Those who remain of him will be buried in death. His widows will make no lamentation, though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare clothing as clay. He may prepare it, but the just will put it on, and the innocent will divide the silver. Oops. He may prepare it, but the just will put it on, and the innocent will divide the silver. He builds his house as the moth, as a booth which the watchman makes. He lies down rich, but he will not do so again. He opens his eyes and he is not. Terrors overtake him like waters. A storm steals him away in the night. The east wind carries him away, and he departs. It sweeps him out of his place. For it hurls at him and does not spare as he flees away from his hand. Men will clap their hands at him and will hiss him out of his place. Job 28, surely there is a mine for silver and a place for gold which they refine. Iron is taken out of the earth, and copper is smelted out of the ore. Man sets at the end to darkness and searches out to the furthest bound, the stones of obscurity and of thick darkness. He breaks open a shaft away from where people live. They are forgotten by the foot. They hang far from men. They swing back and forth. As for the earth, out of it comes bread. Underneath it is turned up as if it were by fire. Sapphires come out from its rock. It has dust of gold, that path no bird of prey knows, neither has the falcon eyes to see it. Falcon's eyes, I seen it. The proud animals have not trodden it, nor the fierce lion has passed by there. He puts his hand on the flinty rock, and he overturns the mountains by the roots. He cuts out channels among the rocks. His eye sees every precious thing. He binds the streams that they don't trickle. The thing that is hidden he brings out to light. But where will wisdom be found? Where is a place of understanding? Man doesn't know its price, and it isn't found in the land of the living. The deep says, it is an enemy. The sea says, it isn't with me. It can't be gotten for gold, neither will silver be weighed for its price. It can't be valued with gold or for with the precious onyx or the sapphire. Gold and glass can't equal it, neither will it exchange for jewels fine gold. No mention will be made of coral crystal. Yes, the price of wisdom is above rubies. The topaz of Ethiopia will not equal it. It won't equal it. It won't be valued with pure gold. Where then does wisdom come from? Seeing it's hidden from eyes of all living, and kept close from the birds of the sky. Destruction and death say, we have heard a rumor of it within our ears. God understands its way, and he knows its place, for he looks to the end of the earth, sees under the whole sky. He established the force of the wind. Yes, he measures the water by measure. When he made a decree for the rain and a way for the lightning of the thunder, then he saw it and declared it. He established it, yes, and searched it out. To man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. To depart from evil is understanding. All right, and that is the end of our reading right there. And so I think that's the end of our reading. No, it's not the end of our reading. We have one more chapter, and we'll be done. So Job chapter 29 verse 1. Job again took up his parable and said, oh, that I were as in the months of old, as in the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone on my head, and by his light I walked through darkness as I was in my prime, when the friendship of God was in my tent, when the Almighty was yet with me, and my children were around me, when my steps were washed with butter, and the rock poured out streams of oil on me. When I went to the city gate, when I prepared seat in the streets, the young men saw me and hid themselves. The aged rose up and stood. The princes refrained from talking and laid their hand on their mouth. The voice of the nobles was hushed, and their tongue stuck to the roof of their mouth. For when the ear heard me, then it blessed me, and when the eye saw me, it commended me, because I delivered the poor who cried, and the fatherless also who had none to help him. The blessing of him who was ready to perish came to me, and I caused a widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on the righteousness as it clothed me. My justice was as a robe and a diadem. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was father to the needy. I researched the cause of him who I didn't know. I broke the jaws of the unrighteous and plucked the prey out of his teeth. Then I said, I will die in my own house. I will count my days as the sand. My roof is spread to the waters. The dew lies all night on my branch. My glory is fresh in me. My bow is renewed in my hand. Men listened to me, waited, and kept silence from my counsel. After my words, they didn't speak again. My speech fell on them. They waited for me As for the rain, their mouth drank as with the spring rain. I smiled on them when they had no confidence. They rejected the light of my face. They didn't reject the light of my face. I chose out their way and sat as chief. I lived as a king in the army, as one who comforts the mourners. Okay, that is day 33 of 365. And we'll be back again tomorrow with day 34. And yes, this is very beautifully. Hey, so we're gonna keep reading, and we're gonna keep reading any place, anywhere, everywhere. So stay tuned, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Hey friends, a huge thank you to all our incredible sponsors and supporters on Patreon and everywhere else. Your prayers, encouragement, and generosity means the world to us, and we couldn't do this without you. Want to be a part of the journey? Join our studio family today and help us create even more awesome content. Just head over to www.patreon.com/Mike Solo. Let's make something amazing together.